Hello, welcome to David's Games and Parts for a type of video that I have not done in a while. And I ask that you pardon my voice because I've just come out of a really long conversation. It was a productive conversation about what I'm about to talk to you about right now. And I need to get some water, but I wanted this to be real, and I've wanted to make another video of this kind for a while, but I think that it's more important that what I'm saying be authentic than I have the best voice or best mic or whatever. So I'm going to start in being authentic. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is something that has been bothering me for quite a while. It's how I've kind of felt just in my general life in regards to friendships and just in general. But sometimes all that matters is that we feel heard. Sometimes feeling heard is all that we need. That is what I wanted to say specifically. And I think something that pains all of us in some way or some form is that doesn't matter where it is in our life specifically, we don't feel heard. Whether it's in your personal life at home or if it's at school. Personally, I've felt that at school always because, teachers don't really care for the most part. There's some times where they do and you get a really good teacher, but then you also have teachers where it's like, I don't care that something really horrible just happened to you. You're still doing this test today. And, if you get a bad grade, you think I care? And it's frustrating for a lot of reasons, not just because of the consequences of a bad grade, but it's frustrating because no one likes talking to a wall. No one wants to feel alone. We all want to feel like we're cared about. And if you're like me, you often think about, are you as valued by the people that you value as you value them? There's a lot of different ways to think of it. A common way people think of it is, would these people miss me, if I was gone? Not to make it morbid, but, you wonder, how profound is this friendship really? Are we just acquaintances and I'll be like, wow, that's tragic, and then you go on with your day? Or do they take a moment? Do they take a moment to think about it and to be like, wow, that really marked me? And is that something that is going to continue to mark them? A lot of times, personally, something I've struggled with a lot in the last year is that I'll be talking to people, some people I used to be closer with as friends, and I just feel like I'm talking into the void. I only get half an ear, if that much, or, they're far away. I can't talk to them in person right now. When that person texts me and asks me for help or asked me for help in the past, I would always give it 100% of my attention. I'd stop what I was doing right away. I'd reply to every single message and I would give my advice. I would just listen to what they had to say. And then when it would come my turn to ask that same person for advice, he'd just not, he would leave me undelivered or read or just not answer my message for days, weeks, sometimes months, or just never. And then would just continue to talk over that, string of messages with his own. And it seems inconsequential at first. At first you think to yourself, maybe I just talked too much. But it starts to dig in and it starts to have an effect on the friendship in a way that might not be reversible, because you just think, well, for how much energy I devoted to this person, they don't even care in the slightest bit. Like, you know, using the example from earlier, morbid as it is, if I was to cross the street and get hit by a car like that person, would that person even care? You know, would that even be something they really think about? That's not something you should probably spend too much of your time thinking about. I don't think that's necessarily the healthiest thought process. But our minds wander. We think of dark things sometimes. I think the best thing that you can do right now is try to listen to someone else. Because if we all feel that there aren't enough people listening to us, because I just had a conversation with a friend about this as well, talking about how I feel like, and it's a conversation I've had several times with several different people, and I have in my mind all the time, that I feel like I'm putting a lot more energy into my friendships than my friends put in return. Part of it isn't always what we think. A lot of times we think that the reason someone might not help us in the same way we helped them, and that's an insight my friend gave me that I didn't even think of originally, but it's that sometimes they don't know how to help. And I would, personally appreciate just saying, I don't know how to help you, I'm sorry. But, as opposed to just silence, but that's a learned behavior. These days, messages that we don't have the energy or don't feel like or don't know how to reply to, instead of just giving a heads up and saying, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to your query, to your question, whatever. I don't know the way to pronounce it necessarily, but, I don't have it. I think it would be better to just admit to not having that answer than it would be to not speak, to leave it unseen, because the other person thinks they're being ignored and that no one cares. But everyone kind of finds someone, kind of needs someone to confide in. And definitely I feel quite often that I don't necessarily have that person, that I don't have a person that I can necessarily confide into. Sometimes, like I'll confide about a lot of stuff to certain friends who are like really good. But I can definitely say that, like, in my own personal life, like, I am not anyone's best friend. At least not at the moment. I think that'll change soon. But everyone else I know already has another best friend. Everyone else that I'm close with has another best friend. I had one at a time, but things happened and we drifted apart. I'm not angry at him, I'm not resenting it, but it is what it is. But during that time period, which lasted throughout this entire school year and a little bit before that, and these are my last 8 days, probably less by the time I post this, but during that time, throughout this year, several times I felt really down. I'd have these highs where I'd feel really good, but then I'd have these falls, these lows where I felt really bad. And there's a variety of factors behind it, but one of it is that my, the guy I would always go to talk to, and who, he would always expect me to listen to him, but then, like, he wouldn't listen to me. Just stopped answering, just, stopped caring, and it hurt. It hurt a lot because I didn't feel heard, and we want to be seen and we want to be heard. I heard that from Shaman Davis, one of his videos. Shout out to him. But yeah, we want to be seen and we want to be heard. And I didn't feel seen, I didn't feel heard. And part of that experience also made me realize I don't really have a ton of other people in which I can tell literally everything to. And also, I have, like if I'm talking to people, sometimes it's the same problems coming up over and over again, and it gets annoying for the other person. And so they I understand that. But it definitely, it's definitely a painful experience for people to not be heard. All that's to say is you should, if you personally yourself feel like you're not heard, then you're probably in the same boat as me. Believe me, there is someone out there, even if you have not met that person yet, who will hear you and who cares and who wants to listen to you. They may be the next door over. They might be your next door neighbor. They could be living 1,000 miles away in another continent, but they're out there, and you'll find them in your life somehow, some way. So don't give up and keep pushing, and know that there's hope, and that I enjoy hearing people personally. When someone has a problem, I enjoy just stopping everything to just listen and also try to help in whatever way I can, because I feel good about helping people and giving them words of encouragement or self-improvement advice, or just listening and just letting them know that they're not alone, and just letting them know that I'm here. Because sometimes not being alone is the best thing. We know that humans are social creatures, and we also know that no one works alone. Call of Duty's slogan, probably not anymore, but at its inception, at launch of COD 1, one of the slogans was "No one fights alone," or "No soldier fights alone." And I'm gonna put this video over Zelda gameplay, I think. And in Zelda, as much as it seems like a solo adventure, Link does not fight alone. Whether in Zelda 1, he seemed alone, but he had, the old man and the old woman and Zelda, to help with his quest. Or in Ocarina of Time, he had Navi and the sages and other people that he would talk to in the villages and places like that would help him with his quest and give him information or weapons like the Giant's Knife or Big Goron's Sword. Or in Twilight Princess, as again it might seem like he's alone, he has Midna and he has Russell and all these other people that help him in some ways or another, whether it's by giving an item or advice or helping him with something, selling him, the Hylian shield or the magic armor, whatever. He was never truly alone. And in Breath of the Wild, you don't even have an assistant, yet there's the sages, there's Zelda, the same can be said of Tears of the Kingdom. There's the people in the villages who give you clothes or items or other helpful things. All that's to say that no one fights alone. So what you should do is, even if you personally feel like you're fighting alone right now, or even if you don't feel that, hear somebody. If you see someone isn't in a good mood, ask them, how are you doing? Be honest. Like I'm not going to judge you if you're not doing okay. I'm just going to listen. Whether you say that in person or online over text, just listen, no matter what. And just if you hear someone talking about their day or how they feel, whether it's positive, sometimes even positive things like, we want to yap. I want to yap to people about how excited I am for my copy of Japanese Pokemon Crystal to arrive so I can play that. Just hear someone, because sometimes all we need is to be heard.